You already know how to turn your camera sideways. Photographers have been shooting vertical portraits since the 1800s. That isn't the challenge. The challenge is the light is dying, the storm is moving in, and your client, or your audience, expects a 3:2 fine art master, a 16:9 cinematic web banner, and a 9:16 vertical dispatch for social media. The modern creator doesn't just shoot a scene, they shoot a campaign. If you approach a landscape thinking only of your single master frame, you will fail in the digital ecosystem. Before you shoot, decide which deliverable is the priority. The master frame and the vertical dispatch rarely share the same hero moment. Today, we are tearing down the single frame mindset and building the ultimate professional trait, agility. I'm Dale Sinclair. The era of the slow, single format photographer is a luxury most of us can't afford. Today, we are mastering the multi-platform reality. I'm going to teach you how to look at a single location and execute a fluid, agile workflow that captures every required deliverable without sacrificing the technical rigor or the honest frame that defines our craft. Agility starts with understanding the physics of your final destination. We need to talk about the resolution tax, the pixel penalty you pay when you crop one aspect ratio into another. Your 3:2 sensor is your native frame. Everything else, 16:9, 9:16, 4:5, is a derivative crop. If you shoot a horizontal landscape and decide later to crop it into a 9:16 vertical for a mobile screen, you're keeping only the tall center slice, about 45% of the original frame. Imagine slicing a tall, narrow window out of the center of your horizontal frame. You are throwing away roughly 55% of your pixels. The exact pixel loss varies slightly by camera resolution and whether the crop is vertical from horizontal or horizontal from vertical, but the 55% loss figure is a reliable working number. If you pushed your ISO in the field, that noise is now magnified. Turning the camera 90 degrees natively solves the tax. But a warning, if your scene has strong foreground elements, rotating the camera on a tripod changes the nodal point. The relationship between objects alters. Your vertical won't perfectly match your horizontal. A quick field note here for landscape shooters. If you are using a circular polarizer, remember that rotating the camera 90 degrees also rotates your filter. The polarization effect is highly directional. The sky or water reflections you perfectly dialed in horizontally will change vertically. You'll need to reach forward and readjust the filter. Though, depending on the angle of the sun, you may not always be able to perfectly replicate the original effect. True agility is knowing when you have the time to turn the camera and when you must rely on active framing, sometimes called center punching. Active framing means you are shooting horizontal, 3:2, but you are intentionally composing a 9:16 image inside the wider horizontal frame. Active framing is not a license to fix it later. It's a deliberate, honest composition strategy. You don't have to guess where this crop falls. Dive into your camera menu and find a setting called Frame Guides or Aspect Markers. If you are shooting on a modern mirrorless system, you can overlay a 9:16 translucent box directly onto your electronic viewfinder to visually guarantee your vertical crop is flawless. If you are running an older DSLR with an optical viewfinder, you won't have this luxury. You'll need to use your autofocus grid points as mental boundaries or switch to the rear LCD screen. For mobile shooters, rely on your grid lines. Your phone is already built for this vertical perspective. Furthermore, Agile creators favor lenses between 24 and 50 millimeters for this technique because they maintain consistent perspective. Ultra-wides distort the center slice, and telephotos make UI-safe compositions much harder. If shifting your mindset from taking a photo to engineering a deliverable is opening new doors for your workflow, hit subscribe. We're deep into the realities of the modern industry here. But agility isn't just speed, it's foresight. In the broadcast television industry, operators use safe title boundaries. As a modern creator, you must master the UI overlay, the user interface safe zone. When your image hits a mobile platform, the bottom portion will be obscured by captions, and the right edge by interaction icons. TikTok and Reels push UI elements higher than YouTube Shorts, so the exact safe zone shifts, but 20% keeps you protected across all platforms. If you frame your subject perfectly tight in the field, the platform's interface will destroy your composition. The Agile workflow requires you to shoot 20% looser than your gut tells you to. Give your subject breathing room. That negative space is the currency you spend in the editing room. It allows you to shift the image left or right to dodge the UI overlay, or crop to a 4:5 ratio for a feed without amputating your subject's limbs. Keep in mind, if you intend to animate your still photo in post-production, adding a slow digital pan or zoom across the image to give it life, that 20% buffer needs to do double duty. You need extra bleed on the edges so your digital camera movement doesn't hit the end of the frame. Agility can be dangerous too. When you are switching formats rapidly between high-resolution stills and video, you hit the physical limits of your machine. Your biggest enemy is the continuity trap. If you are shooting on auto white balance or aperture priority, the camera will recalculate the light every time you move from a wide horizontal to a tight vertical. Your 3x2 master might run warm, while your 9x16 vertical runs cool. When you put them side by side in a campaign, it looks like an amateur mistake. When shooting an Agile set, lock your exposure in manual mode and lock a specific Kelvin temperature for your white balance. But check your histogram after switching orientations. Your composition changes, so your histogram may shift even when exposure settings stay locked. But how do you switch from shooting a still photograph at 1/1000th of a second to shooting a video clip at 1/50th of a second before the moment is gone? You do not use your scroll wheels. You program your custom settings, often labeled C1, C2, U1, U2, or you may have a custom settings bank. Program C1 for your still photography parameters, and program C2 for your specific video frame rates, picture profiles, and shutter speeds. Your video mode may use a slower sensor readout than your stills mode, which can introduce rolling shutter artifacts in fast motion. If your older DSLR lacks customizable options, your agility relies on pure muscle memory in manual mode. For mobile creators, agility is simply knowing how your phone behaves when you swipe instantly between photo and cinematic modes. A quick warning, some phones automatically switch to a different lens when you zoom or when light drops. This can break continuity. Lock your lens if your phone allows it. The final physical trap is your memory buffer. If you take a burst of raw photos on a dedicated camera and instantly press the record button for video, a standard SD card will choke. Your camera's internal memory will lock up and you will miss the video entirely. You must invest in high-speed media. Look for cards with a V60 or V90 video speed class. And mobile users, your bottleneck isn't an SD card, it's thermal throttling. Shooting 4K video immediately after rapid-fire raw bursts will overheat the device. Pace your dispatch. And when the shoot is done, an Agile workflow collapses without disciplined metadata. You will go home to a chaotic mix of horizontal stills, vertical stills, and video clips. Use your camera's internal rating system. Tag your master file with 5 stars in the field. Tag your B-roll with 1 star. Alternatively, use the old school method. Keep a small field journal in your pocket and jot down the time or the specific file number of your hero shot. Give your future self a map to the campaign before you ever open your editing software. Your assignment is to practice extreme field agility. Find a location where the light or the subject is dynamic, a busy urban intersection or a waterfront at sunset. Your eventual goal is to complete this in 5 minutes to capture a complete deliverables package of the same scene. The Master, 3-2. Your primary uncropped fine art landscape or street scene. The Active Crop, 3-2 composed for 9:16. Turn on your frame guides, or use your focus points or grid lines. Shoot horizontal, but compose so the center vertical slice tells a complete, unobstructed story, mindful of the UI safe zones. The Native Vertical, 9:16. Physically rotate the camera. Notice how the perspective fundamentally changes when you use the full height of your sensor. The Contextual B-roll. Switch to your custom video profile, or swipe to video mode, and capture 5 seconds of motion, wind, traffic, water, to serve as a living background for the final dispatch. Why just 5 seconds? Because a silent, static photo often gets skipped on modern platforms. In the editing room, this B-roll becomes your secret weapon. You can use it for a smash cut, starting with motion to hook the viewer, then cutting to your pristine still photo. You can use it as a living canvas, layering the blurred video as a moving background behind your horizontal photo to remove black bars. Or you can simply use it as an audio bed, extracting the raw ambient sound of the wind or traffic to play underneath your images to build atmosphere. When you switch to video, remember that digital stabilization and frame rates may change your field of view. Anticipate the tighter crop. Some cameras apply a 1.1 to 1.5 times crop when stabilization is active. And if you are shooting handheld, try the overcrank cheat. Shoot this clip at 60 frames per second. In the editing room, you can interpret that footage down to 24 frames. This creates a subtle slow motion effect that completely eliminates handshake and gives the footage that heavy atmospheric feel. The medium dictates the message, but the agile photographer controls the frame. Anticipate the platform, protect your safe zones, and respect the resolution tax, no matter what gear is in your hands. We'll tackle the ethics of how we use these files later, but for now, your job is to capture the data in camera. And if you hit a wall during this assignment, or just want to discuss your gear and workflow, jump into our Discord server. The link is down in the description below the video. It's a small, tight-knit core group of creators right now, which means you can actually get your questions answered and trade real feedback. I'm Dale Sinclair. Stay agile, lock your exposure, and I'll see you on the path.